Hi, I'm Cuiyi Ye. Our group project topic is about how does modern China cause climate change. As many people know, China has the largest population in the world. It has approximately over 1,439,000,000 people. My first slide is about China's CO2 emission. China also has the highest CO2 emission in the world. With a larger population, the modern country needs to build more industries to produce more needs in order to support its people, which it also caused the increasing in carbon emission. In the chart of the slide, it shows that there are many ways to cause CO2 emission in China, such as industrial sector, coal, fossil fuel, and technology. Modernization is the main starter that causes climate change. Since people are progressing to become better, the society also needs to improve. Like the movie I have watched for this class, The Wandering Earth, it talks about when people are not taking good care of our Mother Earth, there won't be a suitable place for humans to live. And when all the animals are extinct in the world, soon it will be us, the human. In the movie. But now, what kind of action can China take in order to reduce the CO2 emission? So China is pledged to use more clean energy to help decrease the emission, such as the hydropower, nuclear power, and renewable includes wind and solar. And China also had signed the Paris Agreement to think about how to cut its GHG, as known as the greenhouse gas emission. So next, Junxin will talk about technology aspect of climate change.
Hi, I'm Junxin Chen, and I'm going to talk about waste we produce through technological development that cause climate change. First, I will introduce the Chinese four new invention. It contains high-speed rail, bike sharing, e-commerce, and mobile payment. They are the reputation of modern China's technology. Because of high-speed rail and bike sharing, people are able to travel and work in a shorter time. And e-commerce and mobile payment are convenient for people to spend their money. And credit pay from Alibaba makes people have 500 to 50,000 yuan consumer credit, and then people can execute their buy now pay later plan. Each consumer of Ant Credit Pay also possesses personal credit that encourages them to receive loan and do mobile payment. Red envelope is a Chinese tradition that older people give money to the younger people. It cost 1.2 billion transactions during the Spring Festival in 2019. While there are some positive aspects of Chinese four new inventions, there are also some disadvantages. It's true that bike sharing is convenient transportation, solving the last mile problem. It helps people to connect their home to the bus station or subway station. Bike sharing is a type of green commuting that causes no pollution at all. Nonetheless, the competition between the capitals makes lots of wasted bikes. There are 10 million wasted bikes in 2018, equal to 0.3 million tons of metal that produce a vast amount of factory air pollution. This is the major factor for the climate change problem. Another problem is that wasted bikes occupy the streets that cause traffic jam. It's inconvenient for pedestrians. Although the mass of delivery is able to create jobs and expand consumer demand, it also brings the problem of excessive packaging and packaging waste. Excessive packages are non-degradable that result in land pollution and water pollution. There were 50 billion packages and at least 6.9 billion tips in 2018. Just like the delivery waste, live stream economy and live commerce also produces waste that has a negative influence on China's climate. The mayor's live streaming commerce can help to drive the local economy. Some celebrities' live streaming utilizes their celebrity endorsement to promote products. In contrast, some streamers from eating live broadcasts come with negative value. In order to attract the audience attention, they buy lots of food and don't eat them at all. This comes with the idea of consumerism that mislead the young audience. According to the film People Republic of Desire, live streaming shows that money determines everything. These are harmful values that are detrimental to the youth. Moreover, food waste is one of the largest components for climate change. It releases 5.2 billion tons of greenhouse gas. Most of them are CO2, which is the major contributor to the climate change.
For my part of the project, I will focus on industrialization in China and its effects on climate change. Before the success and establishment of China's industrialization era, there were a handful of trial and errors along the way. China's industrialization can be traced all the way back to the Opium Wars after China's humiliating defeat at the hands of the British. After this defeat, China sought to modernize by establishing an industrial system, but this resulted in a failure. Another attempt was made through Mao's Great Leap Forward, which resulted in a massive famine as he attempted to modernize through industrial technology, which led to another failure. It was only in recent decades that China really established themselves industrially. These recent and successful industrial revolutions can be grouped into two categories. The first category is the First Industrial Revolution, which took place between 1988 to 1998. During this period, there was a mass production of manufactured goods in both urban and rural areas. They mainly relied on imported machinery and quickly became the world's largest producer of textiles, cotton, furniture, and more. The Second Industrial Revolution took place between 1998 to present day. During this period, mass production was just for the sake of mass production. This was a result of growing consumerism, which led to an increase in demands for manufactured goods. In order to keep up with these demands, there was an increase in production and consumption of coal, steel, cement, machinery, and more. In this slide, the graph on the left depicts a comparison in the manufacturing output of the top 5 countries in 2013. Based on the graph, we can see that between 1970 to 1990, China's manufacturing output was relatively low compared to the United States and Japan. During this time, the United States took the lead for the most manufactured outputs. But by 1995 to 2000, China began picking up the pace of production, but still much lower compared to the United States and Japan. Then, between 2005 to 2010, China saw an exponential growth in manufactured outputs, successfully taking the lead over both the United States and Japan. But as a result of this economic boom and manufacturing, China's air pollution increased and took a turn for the worse in the 21st century. Some causes of the increased air pollution is due to population growth, vehicle usage, and manufacturing output. The increase in manufacturing output in China created a growing middle socioeconomic class. As a result of this growth, more and more people were able to afford motorized vehicles, which also contributed to air pollution on top of industrialization. In the city of Beijing, 70% of air pollution emissions are caused by motorized vehicles. The wide use and dependency on motorized vehicles was indirectly caused by manufacturing. Another cause of air pollution is the use of coal to fuel manufacturing, because China consumes almost as much coal as other countries combined, since it is one of the leading countries in manufacturing outputs. This practice of burning coal releases air pollution and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which is one of the leading causes for climate change. According to our textbook, Modern China, it says, as climate change accelerates, China has become the world's largest emitter of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This type of air pollution also causes premature deaths. Since China is one of the leading countries in manufacturing outputs, the use of coal to fuel and sustain this exacerbates climate change as well as health issues. Some health issues caused by burning coal are asthma, cancer, health problems, lung problems, neurological problems, and more. Burning coal produces toxic emissions into the air. Some examples of the gases released into the atmosphere are mercury, sulfur dioxide, and nitrous dioxide, among many more. Mercury can cause damage to the nervous, digestive, and immune systems, as well as affect child development. Sulfur dioxide can cause asthma and bronchitis. It also contributes to smog, which contains toxic airborne particles and causes limited visibility. Smog also engulfs the city in a blanket of yellow and gray, which blocks out the sun and the blue sky. Sulfur dioxide can also cause acid rain, which destroys crops, damages ecosystems, and pollutes water sources. Lastly, nitrous dioxide can irritate lung tissue and cause asthma. All of these emissions are trapped in the atmosphere, exacerbating global warming and climate change. This can cause drought, heat waves, rising sea levels, extreme weather events, species extinctions, save the polar bears, and more. And lastly, this is an image of air pollution in one of China's major cities. As you can see, the city is covered in a blanket of trapped air pollution.
Hi, I'm gonna talk about the impact of climate change in China. So, in the past 100 years, our climate has experienced significant warming. From data, the temperature has increased by 1.1 degrees in 100 years, which is higher than global average of 0.74 degrees. Precipitation in North and Northeast China decreased significantly, with an average decrease of 10% to 30%. People who live in Beijing can actually feel that the decrease in precipitation over the past few years. This has a serious impact on the water supply in the northern area. And according to data, nearly 70 million people were affected by the severe drought in southwest China and caused a really serious economic losses. And it also caused production instability increased. The occurrence of high temperature, drought, and flood has obviously adverse effect on the production safety, and domestic scholars estimated that food safety caused by instability will reduce grain production by 5% to 10%. And coastal sea level of China has risen by an average of 0.09 meters in the past 30 years, which is higher than the global average. With this high tide level and storm, this factor will be really dangerous on our coastal areas. By the middle of this century, the national surface temperature is likely to rise by 1.2 to 2 degrees by 2050, and by the end of this century, the temperature is likely to rise by 2.2 to 4.2 degrees, and extreme climate events will be more and more frequently in the case of continued warming. There are mainly high temperature heat wave, drought, heavy rainfall, and typhoon. People should learn the knowledge of climate change and fully understand how to deal with climate change. And on the other hand, they can start from something around themselves to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. For example, they can drive slowly and try to use some energy saving products when they want to change their appliance. All of these are what we can do in our daily life, but they can not only reduce the use of energy and greenhouse gas emissions, but also have a good effect on our environmental protections.